Welcome back to the third and final session of Unit 4 Elements of Writing in A03 paper. We have been discussing on rhetorical modes in academic writing. Rhetorical modes are the ways adopted to communicate effectively to your audience. These are the strategies to reach out to the audience and convince them to accept your views. So we have already discussed on some of the common rhetorical modes in academic writing like narration, description, illustration, argumentation, comparison and contrast. Now we will be moving on to the remaining sessions of rhetorical modes in academic writing. Please do watch the first and second parts of this lesson before watching this final session. The next rhetorical mode is cause and effect. In your regular interaction with friends and family also, you often had to explain the reasons and effects of certain incidents or developments. For example, when you miss the bus to the college, you have reasons for it, and you know that there might be the effects of that incident, just like missing the first hour in your college, or you would miss meeting with your friend likewise. Just like that, in your academic writing assignments also, you may require to incorporate cause and effect analysis. And depending on your subject, you may even be asked to produce an essay following cause and effect. For instance, if you are pursuing business studies, you may get an assignment asking you to analyze the reasons for particular consumer behaviors and the resultant effects on sales of certain products. These are some sample cause and effect questions. Why did the government demonetize high denomination notes? What do you think are the impacts of this decision? So you have to give the reasons for demonetization and then the aftermath of this decision. Explain the causes and effects of childhood obesity. Likewise, explain how do fast foods affect college students, or what are the reasons for the reduction in rainfall during the last 5 years. Likewise, now what are the features of cause and effect essays? So the very nature of the questions given in the sample questions above makes it mandatory for you to inquire for reasons or explain effects and sometimes both. So in a cause and effect essay, you have to find out the reasons, or you have to inquire the reasons for the given topic, and you have to explain effects and sometimes both. You follow the style of cause and effect essay when you answer these questions. And this type of writing is also known as causal analysis. Okay, a cause and effect essay deals with causes, effects, or both causes and effects of an issue, a phenomenon, or an event. You can also make use of some of the transition words and phrases in a cause and effect essay, just like accordingly, due to, therefore, hence, as a result, because, consequently, etc. Now let's move on to the next one, next rhetorical mode of writing, which is definition. A definition is a way of explaining a word or phrase. The word to be defined may refer to an object, an idea, a concept, a type of person, a place, or a phenomenon. So you have to define something. You have to explain a word or a phrase. It may be an object, an idea, a concept, a type of person, a place, or phenomenon. And in college exams and assignments, you are likely to come across questions like the following: explain personification with examples. How do you define new media? Define photosynthesis. What is chemical reaction? Such and such questions. So responses to these questions, usually attempted in a paragraph each, are examples for definition. So when you write a definition essay, you bring out an extended definition. Okay. Now let's go through general instructions for writing definition. First point, understanding the audience is crucial to writing definitions. Depending on the varying purposes, the tone of your paper needs to be modified. A detached, objective tone is suitable when you are writing an informative definition. Okay, don't bring out some of your personal viewpoints in it. You should be objective while you are defining or writing an informative definition. You may define a term which is already defined by many people in different ways, or a term you coined yourself. So if you are doing the former, that you are defining something that is already done by other people, you have to specify which of the well-known definitions you are following. When you are attempting for the latter, that you are giving some definition on your own coinage or your own findings, then you need to be aware that you are creating a new knowledge, and adequate care should be taken to make your definition logical and clear. Then some background information on the term you are trying to define or redefine will enrich your definition writings. If you are dealing with a term in wide currency in your discipline or across disciplines, it is essential to trace the origins of the terms and its diverse applications. So when you are introducing or when you are trying to give information or define some term, just have a background information of the same. You can go through the origin of this word and its diverse applications. The next point, certain terms may have different uses, definitions in different disciplines apart from its plain dictionary meaning. For example, the term culture, as used in anthropology, literature, agriculture, medicine, and other subjects, has different meanings. So therefore you need to specify the disciplinary use for the term. So in which area or in which subject you are explaining that term. You may even customize a term in use for your subject. Next point, start with analyzing the word to be defined, explaining how it is constituted. For example, if you want to explain post-colonial, mention that the word has two parts, post and colonial. So you have to explain the meaning of each part of the word. Okay, this can be done for words that are constituted by two or more parts. Then you should give the dictionary meaning of the word, and also you can search an etymological dictionary to find out or understand the origins of the word. Then exemplify or illustrate the meaning wherever possible. So these are the general instructions for writing definition. Now the next rhetorical mode of writing is process analysis. A process analysis may be for explaining how something happens or works, or how to do something. So you have to explain how something works or how something happens, or sometimes you have to explain how to do something. So the former is called informational process analysis, that the way that how you explain how something happens, that is informational process analysis. And the next one is that if you are explaining on how to do something, that is directional process analysis. The main objective of a process analysis essay or paragraph is to explain the steps involved in doing something or the sequence in the functioning of something. As you know that you are explaining the processes, different steps involved in doing something or the sequence in the functioning of something. An informational process analysis is usually written in an objective style. Okay, note that point. Informational analysis, that when you explain on something, how something happens, it's an informational process analysis, and it should be written in an objective style using third person perspective. Whereas directional process analysis communicates directly to the reader in the second person. Okay, so you can go through this example. Here are some of the topics or examples for the two types of process analysis. Then you will get a clear idea of it. Directional process analysis. So there are two types of process analysis: directional process analysis and informational process analysis. For directional process analysis, see those examples. User manual for gadgets. When you buy a mobile or TV, you know that you will get a user manual which will be giving or directing you to how to use the item. Then cookbook, textbook, handbook, or how to assemble a computer, how to repair a watch, how to survive an earthquake, how to write an essay. All these come under directional process analysis. Now see the examples for informational process analysis. How volcanoes erupt. You are just explaining on those processes. How bees make honey. How car engines work. How oil is refined. How a computer works. How snakes reproduce. How earthquakes happen. How airplanes fly. So these are the examples for or topics for directional process analysis and informational process analysis. Now the final part of rhetorical mode of writing is classification and division. As from the term itself is clear to you what is classification and division. When we talk about our college, we have different disciplinaries like BA, BSc, BCom, right? These are the classifications of UG classes, and there are several subdivisions of these categories, just like for BA, BA English and BA Economics, for BSc, BSc Physics, BSc Mathematics, likewise for BCom, BCom Corporation, BCom Finance, likewise. So the general purpose of classification and division is to break broad subject into smaller parts. In academic writing, a classification or division essay analyzes people, things, or ideas, categorizing them into groups and classes. So the main purpose of this classification and division is to break broad subjects into smaller parts. For example, you may categorize the poems into lyrics, sonnets, elegies, or you can divide the fictional works into short stories, long stories, novellas, and novels. You may even categorize characters in a book based on their age, gender, educational qualification, or any other criteria. Sometimes analyzing a subject is easier if you divide them into manageable small parts. So here are some sample topics for classification, just like physical activities for fitness, dress styles of college students, different dress styles are there. Then if you are writing an essay on hobbies, you can even categorize many of those habits, also hobbies. Now let's see the general guidelines for classification. The items to be classified should share some common characteristics. When you classify chemistry into physical chemistry, organic chemistry, and inorganic chemistry, the linking factor is chemistry. So there should be some common characteristics. Then second point, decide the criterion or scheme of classification. At the pre-writing stage, you need to decide which properties of your subject is taken into account for categorizing. For example, if you are classifying computers, you need to decide whether your classification is based on the types of computers or their processor capacity or the type of motherboards used in them. So categorization can be based on several aspects. Okay, as we have mentioned in this example, if you are classifying computers, you need to decide whether your classification is based on types of computers. There are different types of computers, or their processor capacity, or you can even categorize them on the basis of different types of motherboards used in them. The next point, mention what you are planning to classify in the introduction. Your statement on them is classified in the essay, and the criterion for classification serves as the thesis statement of the essay. The next point, examples and explanations are to be given for each category. So as you classify them, you should give proper examples and explanations for such category. Then transition words like the first type, the first kind, the first class, or the second type, second kind, second class, or third type, third kind, third class can be used to sequence your classification. So let me stop here. I hope all the parts are clear to you. If you have any queries, you can give it in the comment box. Thank you for watching and thank you for supporting. Thank you.